romantic relationships are one of the most beautiful yet complicated parts of life. Everybody wants love. Everybody wants somebody who looks at them like they're the only person in the room, but very few people truly understand what it takes to make that kind of love work. People chase the fairy tale, they chase the movie scenes, the hand holding at the beach, the sweet text in the morning, but that's just the highlight reel. Real love, real romance is built behind the scenes. It's built in the conversations late at night when you're tired. It's built in the way you handle disagreements. It's built in the sacrifices you make and the respect you show. Romantic relationships don't just happen, they're created intentionally. See, love is not just about feelings because feelings come and go. One day you wake up full of passion. The next day you're stressed, you're tired, you're irritated. And those butterflies you had in the beginning don't always flap the same way. That doesn't mean the love is gone. It means love has to be more than butterflies. It has to be commitment. It has to be work. It has to be something you choose to keep alive. That's the part a lot of people miss. They think when the excitement fades, the love is gone. No, love is still there, but it has to be watered. Just like a plant, if you stop watering it, it will wither, no matter how beautiful it started out. One of the most important parts of any relationship is communication. If you can't talk, you can't grow. If you can't be honest, you can't build. I've seen people in relationships who are scared to say what's really on their heart, scared of rocking the boat, scared of conflict, and so they hold it in. But let me tell you, silence builds walls. When you don't speak, your partner doesn't know how you feel, and when they don't know how you feel, they can't meet you where you are. Love is not about guessing games. Love is about clarity. If something hurts you, say it. If something makes you happy, say it. If you need more of something, say it. And don't just talk. Listen, communication is not just about speaking your truth. It's about hearing your partner's truth too. That's where real connection happens. Then there's respect. If you don't have respect, you don't have anything. Respect is what allows love to grow in a healthy way. When you respect your partner, you don't belittle them. You don't mock their dreams. You don't talk to them like they're less than you. Respect means you see them as your equal, your partner, your teammate. You lift them up. You encourage them. You treat them with dignity, even when you're upset. A lot of people think love is enough, but without respect, love gets poisoned. You can't say you love someone but constantly tear them down with your words. That's not love. That's control. Real love shows up with kindness, with gentleness, with honor. And here's the thing. Respect has to go both ways. You can't demand it if you don't give it. Mutual respect is the foundation that keeps a relationship steady when storms come. Now let's talk about effort. Relationships fall apart not because people stop loving each other, but because they stop trying. In the beginning, you go out of your way to impress. You dress up, you plan dates, you leave little notes, you give compliments, you do whatever it takes to show that person they matter to you. But over time, some people get comfortable. They stop doing the things that made the relationship special in the first place. And before they know it, the spark feels like it's gone. But love doesn't die, it gets neglected. If you want romance to last, you have to keep putting in the work. Keep dating your partner even after you've been together for years. Keep showing up with the little surprises, the thoughtful gestures, the effort that says, I still choose you every single day. Effort is love in motion. It's the proof that what you say with your mouth is backed up by what you do with your actions. And then there's trust. Trust is the glue that holds everything together. Without trust, there's no peace. Without trust, you end up living in suspicion, in doubt, in fear. That's not love. That's insecurity. Trust doesn't mean your partner is perfect. It means you believe in their character, you believe in their word, and you believe they've got your back. If you're constantly questioning, constantly checking phones, constantly doubting every move, you don't have trust. And without trust, the relationship can't grow. But when trust is present, you can weather storms, you can go through challenges, and you can still stand strong together. Because love without trust is chaos, but love with trust is peace. Another thing people don't talk enough about is compromise. You can't have two people in a relationship who both want everything their way. That's not a relationship, that's a power struggle. Love is about meeting in the middle. Sometimes you give a little more. Sometimes your partner gives a little more. But at the end of the day, you're both committed to the bigger picture, which is building something together. Compromise doesn't mean losing yourself. It means being willing to sacrifice for the sake of the relationship, as long as it's mutual. If one person is always giving and the other is always taking, that's imbalance. But when both people are willing to bend, that's when love bends without breaking. And let me say this, romance is not about grand gestures all the time. Yes, it's nice to have the big moments, the trips, the surprises, the gifts. But romance lives in the small, everyday things. It's in the way you look at your partner when they walk in the room. It's in the way you touch their hand when you're watching TV. It's in the way you send them a text just to say, I'm thinking of you. Those little things keep love alive far more than once-a-year grand gestures. Romance is about presence, not just presence. It's about showing up consistently with love in your actions. Romantic relationships are also about growth. You can't stay the same person you were at the beginning and expect the relationship to thrive. People evolve, circumstances change, life throws new challenges, and if you're not growing together, you risk growing apart. That's why it's important to support each other's growth, to cheer each other on, to be willing to adapt and evolve as life moves forward. The strongest relationships are the ones where both people are committed not just to loving each other, but to becoming better individuals, better partners, better teammates. At the end of the day, romance is not just about love, it's about choice. Every single day you wake up, you have to choose your partner again. You have to choose to love them, to respect them, to trust them, to put in the effort, even when it's not easy, even when life gets messy. Love is not just something you feel, it's something you do. And when two people make that choice daily, that's when a romantic relationship becomes more than just a relationship. That's when it becomes a partnership, a bond, a love story that can stand the test of time. Romantic relationships are something everybody craves, but very few people truly understand. People confuse attraction with connection, passion with love, and infatuation with commitment. The truth is, a romantic relationship is not just about the excitement of being with someone new. It's about the work you put in, the foundation you build, and the way you show up when things aren't picture perfect. Anybody can show up when it's easy, but the real test is how you show up when it's hard. That's when love proves itself. Most people get into relationships because of chemistry. You meet someone, you feel a spark, your heart races when they text you, your hands sweat when they call your name, and you think, this must be love. That's attraction. That's your emotions talking. It feels good, and it's supposed to feel good, but it's not the whole story. A romantic relationship that lasts has to be more than chemistry. Chemistry gets you started, but character is what keeps you going. If you fall for someone's looks, someone's charm, someone's words, but their character doesn't line up with who they say they are, the relationship will eventually crumble. You can't build love on a shaky foundation. That's why knowing who you are is important before you try to join your life with somebody else's. If you don't know yourself, you'll lose yourself in a relationship. Too many people enter love hoping it will fix their loneliness, heal their insecurities, or fill the void inside them. That's unfair because your partner is not your healer, they're your companion. If you can't love yourself first, you will drain the person you're with trying to make them responsible for your happiness. And let me tell you, no matter how much they love you, no one can carry that weight forever. A romantic relationship is not about two halves, people coming together to become whole. It's about two whole people choosing to build a life side by side. Romantic relationships also require honesty, not just with your partner, but with yourself. You have to be honest about what you need, what you expect, and what you can give. If you lie to yourself, you'll end up lying to them. Some people pretend they're okay with things they're not. They pretend they can handle situations they can't, and then months down the road, resentment builds. A lot of breakups don't happen because of one big event. They happen because of 100 little things that were never said, never dealt with, and finally exploded. If you want love to last, don't hold your truth hostage. Speak it with love, speak it with respect, but speak it. Another part of romance people forget is patience. We live in a fast food, instant message, next day delivery kind of world, and people want love to be instant too. But real love takes time. You can't rush intimacy. You can't rush trust. You can't rush deep connection. That only comes through consistency over time. Anybody can impress you for a month. Anybody can fake it for a season, but time reveals everything. If you're patient enough to let love unfold naturally, you'll see the truth. And if it's real, time won't weaken it, it will strengthen it. Let's talk about forgiveness too, because if you're in a relationship long enough, mistakes will happen. Misunderstandings, hurt feelings, wrong words, even wrong actions. They happen because we're human. If you expect perfection, you'll always be disappointed. But if you learn how to forgive, you'll give love room to breathe again after it stumbles. Forgiveness doesn't mean ignoring red flags or allowing toxic behavior, but it does mean giving grace when your partner is genuinely trying, genuinely sorry, and genuinely willing to do better. Holding grudges in a relationship is like keeping poison in your pocket. You think you're hurting them, but you're really just poisoning the love you both share. Romantic relationships also thrive on appreciation. We live in a world where people are quick to point out what's wrong, but slow to celebrate what's right. Don't just notice your partner's mistakes. Notice their efforts too. When they go out of their way for you, even in small ways, say thank you. When they show up for you, appreciate it. Gratitude makes love grow. The more you acknowledge the good, the more good you'll see. The truth is, everyone wants to feel valued. When your partner feels valued, they're inspired to keep giving more. Love doesn't die from lack of passion nearly as much as it dies from lack of appreciation. Then there's vulnerability. A lot of people are scared to be vulnerable in relationships because they don't want to get hurt. They build walls, they put on masks, they pretend they're stronger than they feel, but love can't live where walls stand tall. Love requires you to take the risk of being seen fully, your flaws, your fears, your insecurities, all of it. And when your partner sees all of you and still chooses you, that's where intimacy begins. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. It says, I trust you enough to let you see me as I am. Without vulnerability, a relationship stays shallow. With it, it becomes deep, unbreakable, and life-changing. Another key element is shared vision. Two people can be in love but walking in completely different directions, and eventually that love will pull apart. If one person dreams of building a family and the other dreams of living free and solo forever, that's not alignment. If one person wants to grind hard for financial success and the other is content with just getting by, that's not alignment. Love isn't just about the present, it's about the future. If you don't have a shared vision, you'll eventually find yourselves at a crossroads. That's why it's important to talk about values, dreams, and goals early and often. When your vision aligns, you're not just in love, you're building something together. Romantic relationships will also test your humility. Pride destroys love faster than almost anything else. If you're too proud to apologize, too proud to admit when you're wrong, too proud to compromise, you're not protecting your heart. You're pushing love away. Humility says, our relationship matters more than my ego. Humility makes room for reconciliation, for growth, for understanding. Love doesn't survive on pride. It survives on humility and grace. Romance also demands consistency. A lot of people can do the right thing occasionally, but consistency is what proves sincerity. If you only show love when you feel like it, your partner will never feel secure. But when you're consistent, when your words match your actions day after day, when your effort doesn't disappear after the honeymoon phase, that's when trust deepens. Love isn't about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do daily. And let's be clear, romance is not about perfection. It's about two imperfect people deciding to love each other through the imperfections. If you're waiting for the perfect partner, you'll wait forever. Perfection doesn't exist, but commitment does. Dedication does. Willingness does. A healthy romantic relationship is not about finding someone flawless. It's about finding someone who's willing to grow, willing to fight for the love you share, willing to put in the work alongside you. At its core, romance is about partnership. It's about knowing you don't have to face life alone. It's about having someone who cheers for you, challenges you, comforts you, and believes in you. It's about having someone to share the laughter with, the tears with, the victories and the losses with. Romance is not just about how someone makes you feel. It's about how you both build something that makes life richer, fuller, and more meaningful. When people talk about romantic relationships, they often imagine the picture perfect moments, the hugs, the kisses, the hand-holding in public, the cute little dates, and the butterflies in the stomach. But romance, real romance, goes way beyond all of that. It's not just about the highlight moments. It's about what happens in the background when no one is watching. Romance is not just what you feel, it's what you do consistently to keep that feeling alive. And if you really want to understand what a romantic relationship is, you have to look deeper than just the surface. Romantic relationships start with attraction, but attraction alone doesn't guarantee survival. You can be attracted to someone's looks, their smile, their laugh, even their confidence. But once that fades or once life gets tough, you need something more. That's where compatibility and connection come in. You can't build a future on looks alone because beauty can't carry conversations, beauty can't resolve arguments, and beauty can't pay bills. What truly sustains romance is when two people connect on values, dreams, and how they choose to treat each other every single day. One of the biggest things that keeps love alive is emotional safety. You can't be in a romantic relationship where you feel judged all the time, criticized for your thoughts, or belittled for your feelings. If you're scared to open your mouth, scared to show who you really are, that's not romance, that's prison. A healthy romantic relationship feels safe. You can bring your authentic self to the table without fear that your partner will throw it back at you. When people feel safe, they love more deeply, they open up more freely, and they give themselves more completely. That safety becomes the soil where real romance grows. Another part of romance that doesn't get enough attention is consistency in actions. A lot of people are good at saying the right words, but words without action are empty. You can say, "I love you," all day, but if your actions don't match, those words mean nothing. Romance shows up in action. It shows up when you take time to call, even when you're busy. It shows up when you notice your partner is tired and step in to help. It shows up when you sacrifice your comfort to make them feel supported. Romance is not just what you say in the good times, it's what you do even in the tough times. Conflict is another area where romance gets tested. Anybody can be loving when everything is smooth. But the real question is, how do you handle it when you don't agree? Do you yell? Do you tear each other down? Do you walk away and shut down? Or do you fight fair, listen, and find a solution together? A romantic relationship is not about never having disagreements. It's about how you handle them. If you can disagree without disrespect, argue without destroying, then you've got a relationship that can survive storms. Romance doesn't die because of disagreements. It dies because of disrespect. Romance also thrives on attention. Not attention from the whole world, but attention from the one you love. When you pay attention to the little things, like remembering their favorite song, knowing how they take their coffee, or noticing when they're not okay even when they say they are, that's romance. It's not about being perfect. It's about being attentive. Too many people stop paying attention once they've got the person. But the truth is, if you want to keep love alive, you have to keep learning your partner. People grow, they change, and so should the way you love them. Romance is paying attention long after the honeymoon phase is over. One of the hardest but most rewarding parts of romance is vulnerability. To be vulnerable means letting your guard down, showing the parts of yourself you don't show the world, and risking the possibility of being hurt. But without vulnerability, intimacy never reaches its full depth. You can't have real closeness if you're always performing, always pretending, always keeping up a wall. Romance becomes powerful when both people say, "This is me, flaws and all," and the other person says, "I still choose you." That's where real intimacy lives, and without that, romance stays shallow. Another key to romance is growth. You can't stay who you were on day one and expect the relationship to stay alive. Life changes, circumstances shift, and both people need to keep growing individually and together. If one person grows and the other stays stagnant, the relationship starts to strain. Romance grows when two people push each other to become better versions of themselves. You cheer each other on, you support each other's goals, you build each other up. A romantic relationship is not just about where you are right now. It's about where you're going and how you're going to get there together. One mistake people make is thinking romance is about the big dramatic gestures. The roses, the vacations, the gifts. Those things are nice, but they're not what keeps a relationship alive. Romance is about the everyday choices. It's about showing love on a Tuesday afternoon just as much as you would on Valentine's Day. It's about a smile, a hug, a kind word when it's needed most. It's about creating moments of love and connection daily, not just on special occasions. Real romance lives in the ordinary, not just the extraordinary. Sacrifice also plays a role in romance. You can't have everything your way all the time. Sometimes you compromise. Sometimes you give up something small for the greater good of the relationship. And when both people are willing to sacrifice for each other, love becomes stronger. Sacrifice doesn't mean losing yourself. It means valuing the relationship enough to put the other person first when it matters. Romance is not selfish, it's selfless. Appreciation is one of the simplest yet most powerful aspects of romance. Saying thank you, acknowledging your partner's efforts, letting them know you notice what they do. These small things keep love alive. Too often, people get used to each other and stop showing gratitude. They stop saying thank you for the little things, and slowly, the relationship starts to feel one-sided. But when you show appreciation consistently, it tells your partner they are seen, valued, and cherished. That's romance, and romance requires trust. Without trust, the relationship is built on shaky ground. Trust doesn't mean blind faith, but it does mean believing in each other's words and actions. If you're always doubting, always checking, always suspicious, the relationship will suffocate. Trust is built slowly through consistency, honesty, and loyalty. And once it's there, it makes the relationship unshakable. Romance is not just about passion, it's about peace, and trust is what brings that peace. Finally, romance is about choosing each other every day. It's not a one-time decision. Every morning you wake up, you make a choice to love, to respect, to support, to invest in your partner. Romance isn't something that just happens. It's something you create with your choices daily. Even when it's not easy, even when life throws challenges, the choice to keep loving, to keep giving, to keep building, that's what makes romance real. Everybody wants love. Everybody wants to be in a relationship that makes them feel special, wanted, and cherished. But the truth is, not everybody is ready for what it actually takes to keep a romantic relationship alive. People want the joy without the responsibility, the spark without the work, the fairy tale without the reality. But love is not magic, it's effort. Romance doesn't just fall out of the sky and stay there forever. It has to be nurtured, respected, and protected, otherwise it fades away. One of the first things to understand about a romantic relationship is that it's not just about emotions, it's about decisions. Feelings are powerful, but they're also unpredictable. They rise and fall depending on stress, circumstances, even the mood of the day. If your relationship is only built on feelings, it won't survive the hard times. Real romance is built on choices. Choosing to be patient, choosing to forgive, choosing to love even when it's not easy. Those choices create stability that feelings alone can never create. Love is not just, I feel like I love you. Love is, I choose to love you no matter what. Romantic relationships also demand responsibility. When you're single, you move however you want. You spend how you want. You plan your time however you want. You make decisions with only yourself in mind. But when you step into a relationship, that changes. You now have to consider someone else's needs, someone else's perspective. That doesn't mean you lose yourself, but it does mean you take responsibility for how your actions affect your partner. Romance is not selfish. It's a shared experience that requires accountability from both sides. Another thing people overlook is effort in communication. Communication is not just about talking. It's about understanding. Some people talk a lot but don't listen. Some people listen but don't really hear. In romance, communication has to be two-way. You can't just dump your feelings on your partner and expect them to read your mind for the rest. You've got to create space for them to open up too. And when they do, you don't attack them for their truth. You listen. You take it in. You try to understand where they're coming from. That kind of communication builds closeness. And when you stop communicating, distance creeps in, slowly at first, then all at once. Romance also means showing up consistently. You can't just put in effort when you're in the mood, or when it benefits you, or when you're trying to make up for something. Love is not seasonal, it's daily. The small acts of consistency are what create trust and connection. Checking in, making time, showing concern, remembering the things that matter, those actions send the message that your partner is a priority, not an afterthought. A lot of people lose their relationships because they got comfortable and stopped showing up. But romance doesn't survive on autopilot. It requires constant fuel. One of the strongest markers of a healthy romantic relationship is respect for individuality. Just because you're in love doesn't mean you own each other. A partner is not a possession. They are a person with their own dreams, their own voice, their own path. The healthiest romances are the ones where both people can grow individually while still walking side by side. When you try to control your partner, when you suffocate them, when you demand they live only for you, love starts to feel like a cage. But when you respect their individuality and celebrate who they are, love feels like freedom. And love that feels like freedom lasts longer than love that feels like restriction. Romantic relationships also thrive on intentional effort to keep the spark alive. At the beginning, everything feels exciting because it's new. But as time goes on, routines settle in. And if you're not careful, you can start taking each other for granted. That's when you need to get intentional about keeping romance alive. Plan dates, surprise each other, do the things that made you fall in love in the first place. And more importantly, keep discovering new things about each other. You never fully know your partner. People are always changing, and romance grows when you stay curious about each other. Sacrifice is another key piece. Every strong romantic relationship has moments where you put your partner's needs before your own. Maybe it's something small like letting them choose the movie or making dinner when you're tired. Or maybe it's something big like moving cities to support their career or standing by them in tough seasons. Romance is not about keeping score. It's about giving from the heart because you value the relationship. And when both people give, nobody loses. The relationship becomes richer because of the sacrifices made. Forgiveness has to be present too. No matter how much you love each other, there will be mistakes, misunderstandings, and times where you let each other down. The strength of your romance is not measured by whether you avoid mistakes. It's measured by how you handle them when they happen. Do you hold grudges, bring up the past, and weaponize mistakes against your partner? Or do you forgive, learn, and move forward together? Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to let the mistake define your love story. Without forgiveness, love suffocates under the weight of resentment. With forgiveness, it gets the chance to heal and grow stronger. Another part of romance is admiration. You have to keep admiring the person you're with. Admiration is different from attraction. Attraction is about what you see on the outside, but admiration is about what you see on the inside. It's about respecting their character, being inspired by their qualities, and valuing what they bring to your life. When admiration is present, love grows deeper. When admiration fades, resentment creeps in. So keep noticing what makes your partner special. Keep celebrating their wins, keep lifting them up, and keep reminding them that you see their worth. Romantic relationships are also about balance. You can't give all the time and never receive, and you can't take all the time and never give. Balance keeps love healthy. That means sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow, sometimes you comfort, sometimes you're the one being comforted. When both people give and receive equally, the relationship feels fair and both feel valued. Without balance, one person feels drained while the other feels neglected. But when balance is there, both people thrive. Romance is also built on trust. Not just trust that your partner won't betray you, but trust that they're with you for the long haul. Trust that when life gets hard, they won't walk away. Trust that they mean what they say and say what they mean. That kind of trust creates stability, and stability creates peace. A romantic relationship without trust feels like walking on eggshells, but with trust, it feels like home. And when love feels like home, it lasts. Finally, romance is about effort that never stops. Every day you wake up, you have to keep choosing your partner. You have to keep giving, keep loving, keep building. Romance is not something that survives on yesterday's effort. It's something that has to be created again and again today, tomorrow, and every day after that. When two people commit to that kind of daily effort, their relationship doesn't just survive, it thrives.